It's a bit hot in here, so I've left my window open, so you might be able to hear some of the lovely sounds of the Oxfordshire countryside. Looking at my notes, I've read comments on my review of the OneOdio OpenRock earbuds, and some people have said they want a more subjective review of the sound quality. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to some music and report. I'm not going to include the music in the video. I'd get stung for copyright, but you can find it on the normal services. So I have to choose some music. As a male of an older age, not as old as some, not as wise as some, I have to choose appropriately. So I've picked Dance the Night by someone called Dua Lipa from some movie recently. I never heard of her. I don't remember the movie, but I think I might have dropped off during the third long hour of Oppenheimer. So I've got 4 headsets here. I've got my favourite pair, which I'm keeping secret because I want to get a spare pair and I don't want to push the second-hand price up. And I'll mention the others as I come to them. And don't forget, these views are subjective and what you hear might be different to what I hear, so we do have to consider that. So, my favourite pair of headphones, just scroll my notes a little bit. My favourite headphones, I listen to the music on these. And I would say the sound is full, I'd say it's smooth. I noticed a firm bass. I think that was really in the recording and production, the bass was firm, but the headphones reproduced it like that. And it was an all-round listening experience. What I sometimes like to do is what I call the turn-up test, or the turnip test sometimes. It slips out as, sometimes it autocorrects as the turnip test. So if I'm mixing some music or any kind of audio, what I like to do when I got to a certain point is turn it up until it starts to become a little bit uncomfortable. Then I ask myself, what is it that's causing it to be uncomfortable? Because that's what needs attention. So I tried the turn-up test with these headphones, and really there was no one thing that was causing me any distress in any way. It was just too loud overall. And that's a good thing. That's a sign that something's been well produced and well mixed. So, on to the next headset, if that's the right word for it. So, I've got a bit of a tangle going on here. Let me just untangle. There we go. So, these are in-ear monitors. So they go in your ear, basically, and you monitor with them. So the idea with these is that, particularly for on-stage performance, so rather than having loudspeaker monitors, which really can mess the sound up, I've been on stage playing with a band, and the on-stage monitoring, the sound has been so loud, but it's so confusing, you still can't hear anything. It's just absolutely crazy. So when people use in-ear monitors, it's precisely because of that, and then get a more personalised mix as well. So what I use them for is something different that I do that's not on YouTube. So I'm using them for their intended purpose. They're a discrete method of monitoring. So they're the Mackie MP240. And the current price on Amazon is £180. I don't remember paying that much for them. I thought I paid about 120, 130, but they're not top of the range, they're not bottom of the range, but in the Goldilocks zone I was hoping for. So the sound that I get on these in-ear monitors is slightly less full, it's less smooth, and I somehow don't feel as though I'm hearing all of the music. In the original recording, there's a bit of a distortion in the bass guitar, in the bass instrument. I'm presuming it's a bass guitar. And this would be intentional, I'm pretty sure it's absolutely intentional. And it's a bit too grating and grinding for me, but on my favourite headphones, I need to edit that bit out there. On my favourite headphones, nearly gave the game away. On my favourite headphones, I don't find that annoying at all. But on the Mackie in-ear monitors, it's still not annoying, but it's more obvious. And overall, there's less low bass, but I would expect that of anything that you're sticking into your ear anyway. Unless you can get custom fit in-ear monitors, which you can get, but they're really expensive, so not yet for me. And another thing is that the sound is a bit asymmetric because you've got to get the fit you've got to get the fit symmetric to get a symmetric stereo sound field. And that's really quite tricky, I find that. And as I said in my previous video, I've got slightly asymmetric ears, so that makes it a little bit more difficult. But if I'm using them as in-ear monitors, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Okay, the next example is of all the tangle. I tried to put these down so they wouldn't tangle, but I didn't quite achieve that. So here we have some Sennheiser earbuds. Are you seeing that? Are you seeing that clearly enough? I'm just going out of focus now. Sennheiser earbuds, and these are the CX350. Let me just check that. Got to squint a bit because I need my stronger reading glasses. CX350, yes, they are. And I've had these a few years now, and I think they were somewhere in the region of £50 to £60. So they're not the cheapest, but they're not the most expensive either. And the sound is definitely less full. Even if I try and squeeze them in, the sound is less full. It isn't smooth. I couldn't describe it as smooth at all. And the low bass is just completely absent. Obviously, you've got to push it in more to get more low bass, but at a certain level of discomfort, there wasn't enough low bass, in my opinion. And to be honest, I found the sound really unpleasant, and they are uncomfortable. For me, they're uncomfortable. And I know that's just me, and some people might find them just fine. I find them just not fine. So I need to put them on eBay because I never use them. Right, so we get on to the item in question, the OpenRock, the OneOdio OpenRock at one penny less than £120 from Amazon in the UK today. So I'm repeating what I said in the previous video, perhaps with a little bit more detail. Firstly, that it has a limited frequency range. So I did comment in the previous video that the low frequency was restricted. So I'd absolutely expect this because they don't fit into the ear. The sound is coming out just over the ear like that, which accounts for them being more comfortable, to the point where I literally forgot that I was wearing them at one point. Completely forgot. I'm not exaggerating there. Completely forgot that I was wearing them. So I did notice the absence of the low bass. But what I noticed this time on a more detailed listening perhaps is that there seems to be a bit of absence of high frequency, the really upper highs. But then that kind of balances it out because you've got this region in the middle where the frequency response, I find it acceptable. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but I'm going to say I find it acceptable. And the amount of bass that you get out of these this style of earbuds, I think it's phenomenal. I'm not going to say the bass itself is phenomenal. The bass is adequate. But the fact that you do get adequate bass, that in itself, in this style of earbud, is phenomenal. I don't think I'm going too far with that. It's completely different to what I expected. I expected hardly any bass at all, and it's not that bad. So, where am I? So there's less high frequency, there's less bass, but what there is well integrated, and within its frequency limitations, it's full and it's reasonably smooth. And I can say there is pleasure in listening to these. So whereas with the Mackie in-ear monitors, it's an adequate experience for its intended use, the Sennheiser CX350, I just plain don't like it. I can listen to these OpenRock earbuds and get pleasure out of it, so that is absolutely fine. Not as much pleasure as my favourite headphones, but they're huge and inconvenient, so that's that. Now, you want me to translate this into Audiophile-ese or Audiophile-ish. What is the word for audiophile language? Someone tell me down in the comments. So, my favourite headphones. I'm just reading what I wrote previously because this style of reviewing, it doesn't come naturally to me. So, my favourite headphones emanated profound richness. The bass captivates it, plush and refined. Serenely balanced, it has an immersive auditory haven. An immersive auditory haven unveils, ensuring uninterrupted listening pleasure. I can't say that's wrong. That is what I experience when I'm listening to music on them. So the Mackie in-ear monitor, a subtle diminuendo in fullness and smoothness from the previous headphones is noted, akin to a veil over the melodies. Lamentably, the sound's completeness falters as the low bass recedes from the stage. Okay, now the Sennheiser, regrettably bereft of fullness. The soundscape brims with discontinuity. A palpable absence of smoothness renders a dissonant timbre, while the low bass has taken its leave, yielding an unpalatable resonance. There you go. That's telling you, Sennheiser. I do like Sennheiser products, by the way. My microphone is a Sennheiser, so they make very good products, but on this one something went wrong. It's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. Your mileage may vary. Okay, and coming on to the OpenRock in Audiophile-ese, Audiophile-ish, audiophilia terminology. Within confines of limited frequency expanse, a harmonious integration prevails. Though diminished, highs and lows intertwine gracefully. Amidst these bounds emerges a soundscape of satisfying fullness and modest smoothness. And I'd agree with that as well. So there you go. That's my second review of the OneOdio OpenRock earbuds. And depending on the comments, I might mention it again. I found this quite interesting. I didn't expect these to be remotely good, but they are good. They are good for what they are. They are good. So yes, that's it. See you soon.